Lulu? Is that a nice name?
I thought it was Trampas, I'm sorry.
That's a pretty sexy scene. I mean, you met Doug on Overland Trail, did you
How
not?
do you think I married him?
Yeah. Tell us about Doug.
Oh my gosh, where do I start? Oh my gosh. Okay, before I do that, I just want to thank all of you for, well, first let's thank Boyd Majors and Ray Nielsen for giving us this opportunity to come together. It's my first time here, and honestly, you guys, you just, you give us this other dimension in life, and it's just fantastic. Thank you so much. Thank you. Well, Dougie was such a country bumpkin. I guess I knew him before anybody else. Yeah. And when we met, obviously, on Overland Trail, I saw him, and of course, I just melted. And there was a character actor by the name of Mike Mazurki. Do you remember Mike?
Yeah.
And I was sitting in the commissary, made up and went to lunch and getting ready to film Overland Trail. And then Dougie walked in, and Mike just immediately brought us together, and I was just loony-eyed. And anyway, so we got married. And so that was Overland Trail. And then we went on. Before, during, after, we got married. And then after Overland Trail, he was under contract to Universal and Checkmate, if you remember Checkmate.
Yeah.
Remember? And he went on to Checkmate. And then something called the Virginian came up, and he was just so naive. I think you all agree that he just didn't really belong in show business. Talent-wise, yes. Emotionally, a country bumpkin. So he said, they're doing this Western called the Virginian, and they want me to do a test for this character named Trampas. And I said, test? Why do they want to test you? And he said, well, because, Checkmate, and I was a detective. And I said, but hey, you were a cowboy. And he said, well, I don't know. I don't think they want me. I'm not sure. And I said, well, who else is testing? How many guys are testing? And he said, none. So then he said, I met this guy, and he started to describe James Drury. I mean, he described the Messiah. The Messiah. James. I mean,
refuse that title.
I'm sorry, he gave it to you, and you're stuck with it. And then I met the Messiah. The rest is history.
Well, we just, we were informed, Doug and I were informed that we had the parts of the Virginian and Trampas on the Friday night before the Monday morning that we started to shoot the show. Instead of going and having a drink, which we had a tendency to do later on, we went across the street on Lancaster Boulevard there to a seedy little coffee shop and had a cup of coffee. And he looked at me and I looked at him and I said, well, I guess we're going to do this show. And he said, yeah, I guess we are. I said, you think we can do it? He said, hell yeah. And I said, hell yeah. 9 years later, we were done.
Let me follow up.